I'm Lily. Standing in my apartment doorway, I watched in disbelief as my husband, Ethan, and his mother, Gloria, stepped out of a brand new BMW X7. I knew for a fact that we couldn't afford such a luxury vehicle. Gloria jangled the keys deliberately, a smug look on her face, while Ethan avoided my eyes. They were here for what they thought would be a celebration dinner at my place. I had no idea that Ethan had taken out a 3-year loan with monthly payments equal to his entire salary to buy his mother this car. He planned to live off my income for the next 3 years, expecting me to support both of us. Gloria had encouraged this, convinced that as his wife, it was my duty to financially support Ethan so he could give her the lifestyle she felt she deserved. When I confronted Ethan, asking, "You took out a 3-year loan that eats up your whole paycheck, thinking I'd feed you in my own apartment?" He just stared at me, speechless. Gloria, on the other hand, clinked the keys again, as if she'd won some great victory. They'd come expecting me to celebrate, to congratulate them on this purchase, and to be grateful for having such a generous husband. Instead, I decided to show them the harsh reality they'd been avoiding. It all started 6 months ago. Gloria began her campaign for a new car. Her old sedan, which she'd driven for 10 years and was still in good working condition, had some minor issues that would cost around $3,000 to repair. But Gloria wasn't interested in repairs, she wanted an upgrade. She wanted a luxury SUV like her friend, Penelope, drove. It was all about status, showing the world that her son was successful and that she was a well-taken care of mother. She started dropping subtle hints during family dinners. She'd mention how embarrassing it was to drive her old car, how Penelope had a BMW, and how at her age, she deserved comfort and reliability. Then, the hints became more blatant. She left articles on our coffee table about adult children supporting aging parents, made pointed comments about sons who truly loved their mothers versus those who were selfish, and told stories about her friends' sons who'd bought them cars. Ethan, who was raised to believe that making his mother happy was his life's purpose, soaked up every word. He started researching luxury SUVs during his lunch breaks, comparing models and visiting dealerships. When I asked what he was up to, he was evasive. "Just looking. Mom deserves something nice, and her car is getting old," he said. I pointed out that we were still paying off our own car loan and trying to save for a down payment on a house. I told him that his mother's car just needed repairs, not a replacement. But Ethan was defensive. "You don't understand. She raised me alone after my father left. She sacrificed everything for me. Now that I'm making good money, I should help her. That's what family does," he argued. I agreed that helping was important, but buying a car we couldn't afford was financial suicide. Ethan insisted that we could afford it, saying he'd done the math. But he never showed me the numbers, and I was too busy with my job as a marketing manager at a large firm to push the issue further. We had separate finances. I paid the rent for our apartment and my own expenses, while Ethan paid his and contributed to groceries and utilities. It had worked well because we both had decent salaries and lived within our means. Or so I thought. Looking back, there were warning signs. Ethan became secretive about his finances. He'd close his laptop when I entered the room, take phone calls with the bank in another room, and get defensive when I asked about our savings goals. Gloria, on the other hand, became more and more cheerful during her visits, dropping hints about big changes and how some daughters-in-law understood family obligations while others didn't. I should have seen these as red flags, but I dismissed them as just Gloria being Gloria. She'd never really liked me, seeing me as competition for Ethan's attention and resources. She made it clear from the start that she expected to be the most important woman in Ethan's life, and that I should know my place. Then, last Tuesday, everything changed. I was at work when I received a text from Ethan, "Mom got her new car today. We're coming to celebrate tonight. Can you make something special for dinner? Big celebration." My heart sank. A new car? Not a repaired one, but a brand new car. I called him immediately, but the call went to voicemail. I texted back, "What new car? We can't afford it." There was no response. I left work early and rushed home, my mind racing with financial concerns. A luxury SUV like the BMW X7 would cost at least $80,000, and even with a decent down payment and trade-in, the monthly payments would be huge. When I got home, I checked our joint savings account, the one we'd been building for our future. It was untouched. I felt a brief moment of relief, followed by a deeper sense of worry. If he hadn't used our savings, where did the down payment come from? And how was he going to cover the monthly payments? I tried calling Ethan again, but it was voicemail. I called Gloria, and she answered cheerfully, "Lily, Ethan told you the good news? I finally have a proper car. Your husband is such a good son." I kept my voice steady and asked, "Gloria, how much did the car cost?" She laughed and said, "Oh, I don't worry about such details. That's between Ethan and the bank. All I know is I'm finally driving something I can be proud of. We'll see you for dinner at 7 o'clock to celebrate." I spent the next 3 hours trying to reach Ethan, my panic growing with each unanswered call. Finally, I called his work, and a colleague told me he'd taken a half day to go to the dealership. So, it was real. Ethan had bought his mother a luxury car without discussing it with me, without considering the financial impact on our lives. At 6:30, I heard the sound of an expensive engine outside my building. I looked out the window and saw the shiny BMW X7. Gloria was in the driver's seat, looking triumphant, and Ethan was in the passenger seat, trying to look happy but looking nervous. They got out of the car, and that's when Gloria jangled the keys, making sure I knew it was her victory. She was wearing a new, expensive outfit, probably bought with Ethan's money. They walked towards my building, Ethan carrying champagne and flowers, and Gloria walking like a queen. I met them at the door before they could knock. Gloria tried to embrace me, but I stepped back. "We need to talk before we celebrate anything," I said. Ethan tried his charming smile. "Lily, let's not start with stress. This is a happy occasion. Mom finally has reliable transportation." I looked at him steadily. "How much are the monthly payments, Ethan?" His smile faltered. "Let's discuss this later. Mom's excited to show you." I cut him off. "How much?" He glanced at his mother, who just stared back at me with a smug look. Finally, he mumbled, $3,500 per month. The number hit me like a punch. Ethan's salary after taxes was $3,800 per month. That meant the loan payment alone would take up almost 92% of his income, leaving him with only $300 for everything else. $3,500, I repeated slowly. "And what's your plan for paying your share of the expenses? Your phone bill, your car insurance, your food, your personal needs?" Ethan looked uncomfortable. "Well, I thought we could adjust our arrangement. You make more money than me, Lily. So, during the loan period, you could cover more of our shared expenses, and I'll just handle the car payment. It's only 3 years. It's not that long." I felt my anger rising. "You took out a 3-year loan that takes your whole paycheck, expecting me to feed you in my own apartment?" He just blinked, clearly not expecting this reaction. "It's not like that. We're married. We support each other. This is for my mother. You should understand," he said. Gloria interrupted, jangling the keys again. "Lily, dear, this is what family does. Ethan is fulfilling his duty as a son. As his wife, it's your duty to support him. You make enough money to support both of you for 3 years. It's a small sacrifice considering what I've done for him." I turned to her, my voice calm. "Gloria, did you encourage Ethan to take out this loan?" She lifted her chin proudly. "I encouraged my son to honor his obligations to his mother. I've earned the right to be taken care of in my later years. If his wife needs to adjust her expectations, that's what marriage is about. I nodded slowly. I see. And Ethan, you agreed to this without discussing it with me? You just assumed I'd support you for 3 years while you bankrupt yourself buying your mother a car she doesn't need? Ethan protested weakly. She does need it. Her old car was unreliable. And Lily, you're being unreasonable. It's just money. We'll manage. I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. You're right. Let's go inside. I'll show you how we're going to manage. They followed me into the apartment, expecting me to calm down and have the celebration they'd planned. I gestured to the dining table where I'd set 3 place settings. Please, sit. I prepared for your celebration. They sat down, Gloria still holding the keys tightly, and Ethan looking relieved that I seemed to be cooperating. I went to the kitchen and came back with 3 plates. On each plate was a single slice of bread and a glass of water. Gloria looked at me, her expression cracking. What is this? She asked. I sat down across from them. This is what I can afford to serve you after paying all my expenses and supporting Ethan for the next 3 years. I did the math while waiting for you. My salary after taxes is $6,000 per month. My rent is $1,500, utilities average $300, my car payment and insurance are $800, and my phone, internet, and other basic expenses are about $400. That's $3,000 before food, clothing, savings, or any discretionary spending. After that, I have $3,000 left. If I'm now responsible for Ethan's share of groceries, utilities, transportation, clothing, and personal needs, that's at least another $1,500 per month. That leaves me with $1,500 for my own food, clothing, savings, and everything else for 3 years. Ethan started to interrupt, but I held up my hand. But it gets worse. What happens when your car breaks down, Ethan? Or when you get sick and need medicine? Or when your mother wants something else expensive? Who pays then? Me, of course, because you'll have nothing. You'll be completely dependent on me, like a child, while your mother drives around in her luxury car, showing off to her friends. The reality was starting to sink in for Ethan. Let's calm down, he said. I am calm, I replied. I'm very clear. Ethan, you have 2 options. Option 1, you go back to the dealership tomorrow and return the car. Cancel the loan and deal with the penalty. Your mother can keep her old car or get something more affordable. We can recover from this and rebuild our financial plan together. Option 2, you keep the loan and figure out how to survive on $300 a month. I'm not going to subsidize this. If you choose your mother's luxury over our partnership, we'll have to seriously think about this marriage. Gloria gasped. You're threatening divorce over a car? What kind of wife are you? I interrupted her. What kind of wife refuses to enable her husband's financial self-destruction? A smart one. What kind of mother encourages her son to ruin himself financially for her own benefit? An incredibly selfish one. The room went silent, except for Gloria's angry breathing. Ethan looked between us, finally realizing the magnitude of what he'd done. I can't return it, he said quietly. I signed a contract. The loan is finalized. Mom already has the registration. I cut him off. Then you've made your choice. You've chosen your mother over your wife, her luxury over our future, her approval over our partnership. I love you, or I used to, but I won't destroy my financial life to support a man who doesn't prioritize our marriage. You have until the end of this month to figure out your living situation because you can't stay here if you can't contribute proportionally to the expenses. Ethan looked shocked. You're kicking me out? I corrected him. I'm setting boundaries. This is my apartment, and I pay the rent. If you want to live here, you need to contribute fairly. Since you've committed your entire income to your mother's car, you need to find somewhere else to live. With only $300 a month, that will be very difficult. Maybe you can stay on your mother's couch since you've sacrificed so much for her. Gloria exploded. This is outrageous. Ethan is your husband. You made vows. You can't just throw him out because he loves his mother. I turned to her. I made vows to a partner, not to a child who needs financial support while buying his mother luxury items. Our vows included mutual respect and shared decision-making, which Ethan violated when he took out this loan without consulting me. So, yes, I can set boundaries to protect myself from the consequences of his bad decision. You're a terrible wife, Gloria shouted. I held up my hand. Stop. I'm only going to say this once. You both need to leave my apartment now. Take your bread and water if you're hungry. Your celebration is over. Ethan started to protest, but I shook my head. Not tonight. You need to leave. We can talk later, but right now, I need you both to go. They left, Gloria still ranting and Ethan looking dazed. I watched from the window as they got into the BMW. As Gloria drove away with Ethan, who'd given up everything for her approval, I felt sadness, not satisfaction. Sadness that Ethan had been so influenced by his upbringing that he couldn't see how unhealthy this was. Sadness that our marriage might be over. But also a sense of clarity that I'd made the right choice. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan tried different ways to fix things. He apologized, admitted he'd made a mistake, and begged for another chance. But when I asked if he was willing to return the car, he always hesitated. Mom would be so humiliated. Can't we just make it work somehow? The answer was always no. He asked if he could move back in and pay what he could afford. I refused. I'm not running a charity, Ethan. Either contribute proportionally or find other arrangements. He tried to guilt-trip me, saying, I'm your husband. You're supposed to support me through hard times. I countered that hard times meant unemployment or illness, not voluntary financial self-destruction for someone else's luxury. He got angry and said, You're destroying our marriage over money. That's shallow. I pointed out that he'd destroyed our marriage by prioritizing his mother's wants over our partnership. Gloria also launched her own campaign. She called me, showed up at my workplace, and told anyone who would listen that I was a terrible wife who'd abandoned her husband. I blocked her number, reported her workplace visits to security, and ignored the gossip. My friends, family, and even some of Ethan's friends understood my position. 3 weeks after the car purchase, Ethan showed up at my apartment unannounced, looking exhausted. I need to come home, he said. I've been staying with Mom, and it's a nightmare. She criticizes everything I do, compares me to her friends' sons, and makes me drive her everywhere because she doesn't want to put miles on her car. Please, let me come home. I'll figure out the money somehow. I looked at him with pity. Ethan, do you hear yourself? Your mother convinced you to bankrupt yourself for a car she's now too precious to drive, and you're still defending this decision? He started to cry. I don't know what to do. I can't afford to live anywhere on $300 a month. I'm trapped. And Mom keeps saying you should support me, that you're violating our marriage vows, and that I should divorce you and find someone who understands family obligations. I said quietly, maybe you should. Maybe you should divorce me and find someone who's willing to sacrifice their financial security for your mother's luxury. Because Ethan, I love you, but I can't save you from the consequences of your choice. You made a decision that destroyed your financial life and disrespected our partnership. You need to live with those consequences. Are we done? He asked, his voice broken. I paused. I don't know. It depends on whether you're willing to do the hard thing. Go back to the dealership, explain the situation, and try to return or trade the car for something affordable. Yes, your mother will be upset, but at least you'll have a future. You'll have dignity, and you might save our marriage. He looked at me with hope. If I do that, can we fix this? I chose my words carefully. If you do that, it shows me you can prioritize our marriage over your mother's approval. It shows me you're willing to set healthy boundaries. It shows me you're the partner I thought I married. It won't fix everything right away. We'll need counseling, work on your relationship with your mother, and time to rebuild trust, but it will be a start. Ethan left without promising anything. I didn't hear from him for 4 days. I started to accept that our marriage was over. But then, yesterday, he called. I did it, he said. I traded the car for a decent used car worth about $20,000. My loan payment is now $1,000 per month, which I can manage. Mom is furious, but I did it. I felt a wave of relief and pride. Ethan, that took courage. He laughed bitterly. It took watching my life fall apart.